Well, hello everybody who's watching. I want to use tonight this smocking technique, and I thought this was the easiest way to show you. My good friend Beverly's doing the video for me tonight, as she does. And you do your leaves in 3 places, bottom, middle and top, to each other. And you use pairs, odd numbers of pairs. In this case I've got 3. I really like to use 5, but this will show you the idea. And then what you do, you take the middle of each leaf to itself. That's the same leaf, its own sides to it. And you pin in. And try then to hide the full end of your pin between the leaves, because it doesn't look nice if it's showing on the, especially for competitions, presentation, or anything. We're all proud of our work. You excuse my voice, I do have a chest infection and we're coping with it. So hopefully I come across clear enough to you. And you take the next one, next leaf, if you see that, to itself. This reminds me of the lovely little dresses I would have had as a child. So that might tell you what sort of age I am then. I loved it. You thought it was great in this, well, you can't see it, it's on the leaves, where the breast of the chest of the dresses were lovely smocked. Beautifully smocked. Trying to get that pin in between. And you work your way through to the next. Again, as I thought it was easiest just to lay them down on the table, and you'll see it forming now. And also this way you can see, hopefully, that you're getting your pins forming an even pattern. And when you put it into your piece of work, if you can then move a pin if you feel you need to. But better to try and get it right now rather than make lots of holes in your leaves. This is the variegated aspidistra, which just adds a little bit more to the design. See how I'm trying to keep the pins in a row? This is another form of our leaf manipulation. So there we have it. So now I have to get the 2 end ones, so I'm just going to turn it over. Hopefully it all stays together. And now I can't really see my pins, but hopefully I will. So this, now you will see me doing the full technique, the 3. The bottom one. The middle of the leaf. I put my finger in between to try and separate so that the point is going right on down, and one near the top. Now it's good to try and get all your leaves the same size, but if they're not, you can do a little bit of trimming, as I've had to do. So now we're going to get the centre of these last 2. So like there. And here. I did this for a demonstration in Cumber, and I call this pineapple design. And another demonstrator sent me a text a few weeks later saying, Leslie, there are pineapples popping up all over Cumber. Now you see, when you use less, it gets to be a bit harder to get them together. The more leaves is the better. You will see when I lift it up. And then you can manipulate slightly. So you see the smocking technique coming round. There's a little blemish in this leaf I have to apologise for. That's why we've only got 6 instead of 10, as I was disappointed with the leaves. Now what I'm going to do is give it a very light whoosh of the shine, leaf shine. And then you can, if some of them are too tall at the top, you can trim them down. Now from that, I'm just going to turn, I've used the same technique over here in a book, but this time it's using glue. And you use it only in 2 bits. You glue your pages top and bottom, or an inch or whatever you want to do from each end. Then the next page you glue it to the centre, and then you go back to the top, centre. So this is the pattern you're getting: top, centre. And you'd have to use a hardback book, and this I did for a wedding and put beside where the guests would sign the register. So I'm now just going to move to the arrangement we're going to do. Thought I'd need my glasses for that there. So, not happy just with the point of this one. But, trimming that just slightly. Now, here I have a container, a nice open metal container, and I've added fabric because there's a little hint of mulberry and soft pinks of this metal container, and I've added a hydrangea, which my granddaughter's picked for me yesterday, so I have to use it. And in here I just have a plate, and then it's the base of a posy pad with half a block of oasis. Now a posy pad is not good for this because you don't have the stem length to go in. Now if you're wanting to put a flower at the top, now is the time to do it, because if you don't like it when the design's done, it is easy to remove it then afterwards, but not so easy to put in when you have it into the design. So just finding my way through between these leaves. Me who said this was easier doing it now. So I'm just leaving that one sitting up. And now I have to decide to cut my stems off for going into the oasis here. Yes, I'm happy with that. So, just decide where I want to go. Hold all your stems firmly together, just making sure that's the height I want. I might take another wee snip off. Which way I want that rose there. See. Right, going into the centre, firmly down and in, and that's why you see you do need the depth of oasis to take this. Okay, now I'm going to add, I told you I was disappointed with a couple of my leaves, so I had to trim off, and then I've softened the stem from the back so we're getting the curve, and you use that to go with your flow of design and with the material here, or drape. So just going to cut that at a sharp angle, and going, let's take more rope. And this actually will also soften the design and take away from maybe if you thought your drape was dominant. This is a good way of camouflaging it. And of course at the end you can always decide, oh, I don't like that, I want to take my drape out. Well, that's up to you to take out then. So I'm taking a little bit of the leaf away here because I want to take more stem. And the good thing about this container, I could actually decide to go through the metal work and use it that way. I'm just deciding, do I like it more? Oh, I think more this way. And I always hold my container as I put it in. And that's just giving you that nice movement and space, enclosed space, softening the structure of the top. You see little pins sitting out there, put it in now. That was probably when I was pushing the rose in. And then I have, for the other side too, again I've softened, working this stem at the back, the vein, to get the flow going. And we're going out here. You can always cut off, but you can't add back on, so that's why I have in the next one. So we're getting that lovely outline. And this time I'm going to use the back, turn it the back way, and of course I need a pin now. Just sorry, I didn't take my pins. My trusty assistant there, good friend Beverly. Meant to move it up. I'm just going to do the same pin as I have up at the top, rather than staple. And then also you can just work it on your hand to open up the loop, to get more enclosed space, rather than being flat like that. Just spread it out. And this is going to give me a different form at the side here. So now we have quite a big structure. And I'm going to block my colours now. I have this lovely rose, I love using it, the aqua, because it's got no thorns. That's why I really like it. I'm going to go then to this side. And then I'll take great stems on these, as you can see, and say what I like, no thorns. Now, in the condition of these, I used to always do the boiling, but this time I did another method that I learned or read about or saw, was cutting the stems underwater. And it did work, because I even could see the bubbles coming up, the air bubbles coming out as I did it. And I said, oh, that proves. Fantastic stems. It's great we're cutting them off, but if you want a nice rose and you want to do this design, that's what we have to do. Again, holding, supporting your arrangement, and that's just showing you that the beautiful rose head. And that really worked, cutting them underwater. Really pleased with that idea. I'm going with the main flowers first, and I will add foliages afterwards. Going in now, I have to use the hydrangea, because my granddaughter cut me yesterday when I was up with them. And you don't have to put the full head in. You can cut it in bits. But this one is quite nice. I'll try it and see. You can always change your mind. See, you can make 2, 3, 4 out of that if you thought that one piece was too dominant. Always have when you're demonstrating your little towel or something to put your scissors on so you're not making a noise. And you see how much that part of one head, what it has done there, really covered a good amount of space and given me another texture. And the colour, the lilac is pinking this up. So now, round that, I'm going to have this nice carnation, the variegated one, the pink and white. You can see I'm on the pink tones. I always cut my stems down small for in the bin. And I'm going to just put one of those up here. I'll turn it around in a few moments for you. Carnations, dianthus, I just love them. And they're such good value and keep so well. And I have bought these in the past, maybe a month before the event or 3 weeks. They definitely will keep a month out of my garage, and longer probably. And you want to buy them before an event so that they are well opened. And this one is more delicate. Now don't worry, I am putting in some foliage, and I will remember to turn around and do something at the back there for you. Now I'm sure you're thinking, what could you do at the back as a quick recovery? Yes, a hydrangea head. So I should really do that soon for you, so you're not looking at the oasis. And remember to have some of your heads recessed and some further up. It gives more interest. I've done 4 here, so I better do it in the good light of flower arranging, an odd number, and bring this one out, just resting on the edge of the container. So I'll bring that round for you to see. Some of them recessed, and this one coming out resting. And now that it's round, I will do some hydrangea at the back here for you. That makes a big difference in a quick cover. I'll just bring it up so you can see how many stems. It's a bit like a cauliflower if you're into cooking. And you can get so many heads off, and it's such good value then. And of course it's nice to use what we have in the gardens at the minute. So while I'm looking this way, I'm going to put a piece in there because that's covering that oasis. And I'm going to piece right here next to the pink aqua rose. And I'm going to give another little carnation right here. But I have another most beautiful rose. Let me just check the front before I leave it. Yes, I'll be putting some fine greenery through that. Now at the back, I'm putting in this beautiful rose. You call this Lullaby, and it's calm, soft lavender colour. And again, Lullaby, I think so, just lovely. You want to go over to sleep. And remove any little guard petals. And again, I've recessed the hydrangea, but I'm bringing the rose out. This one has a much finer stem. A little bit more of. You'll see this in a few moments when I turn it around. And again, this one has held really well. And again, I definitely will be using the treatment by cutting underwater. I'm really converted to that. My staging covers a multitude of sins here. My little bin for the rubbish. And with a hydrangea head, it's lovely to bring a flower up out of it. So I'll just do that with one of these roses too. I'll turn it around so you can see how this rose is coming along. The nice soft lavender colours at the back there. And of course we've repeated the hydrangea to the front and to the base. So that gives us rhythm when we repeat. Keeping this one longer because I'm going to take it through the hydrangea, as I said here. And maybe just notice, what was that, Leslie? So please, my voice is holding up as well as it is, so hopefully I'm coming across clear enough to you. Just going to show you that one coming out of the hydrangea. Now you see how that gives more movement and opens up the design rather than all closed in. I might bring one of those to the front. So we need just to fill in a little bit here. These are nice and fresh, as I said, and have kept really well. So use your hands, make space for where you want to insert your flower. Be delicate with your flowers. Just turn around, let you see the back. And now I'm going to go through with some fine foliages. And the linoleum here, again, the right colour just to go with this design. So these are great because you dry them and you get so much off the stem and it will give a lightness, and then you decide where you're going with it. So I'm bringing them through the design. I'll bring this through all round even though I've been blocking everything else because I do think it really adds to the softness of the design. I hope you're all still, even though we can't be together at our clubs, enjoying some flower arranging. And I think it's made us take stock and think about what we do and giving new ideas, not just doing the same thing all the time. That's a nice little self bit coming out there. Just going to go around with this. Now if you see a space, don't panic because I'm going to be coming back to that. And I don't waste all the little bits. And with this being quite solid, but it does have movement, this is given a lighter feel to the whole design. And nice to bring, good to bring it out over the edge, since you have this, in this particular, it's a good size container. We have things and we don't use them, it's amazing. And it's lovely, I've gone to a lovely wee idea. I have to stop saying that word lovely, but it is a lovely idea. I took to my mother the other day, just in a small jam jar, inside a small gift bag, stapled the sides so it brought the small gift bag together, and it made a very nice presentation, handing over, safe as well. And if someone, they can just add a little bit of water and freshen it up. And I thought it was, and you can use a tin if you were worried about the glass. If you want to put them all in together, hold your stems firmly like that, insert, and then they'll spring open. Just going to turn that slowly around and see if I'm happy. And as I said, I do want to add some fine foliage in here. Just checking that's not too big. Take it right around again for you, and there's space around there at the front. And I'm going to add a little bit more for you. What about escallonia? A little bit of escallonia from the garden. I thought that was lovely. There I am again with that word. I'll be getting sacked. Again, bringing it out, sweeping down, adding to the movement. Always clean off the leaves at the base, of course, so you're getting a nice clean stem going into the oasis. I've been doing a lot of arrangements in water and chicken wire. I'm actually finding it quite easy to do. And I also like to do with only stems. If you put in multiple stems without the chicken wire, it can hold the arrangement together really well. I don't think I want to put that bit in there. I don't want it just the same. I'm going to keep this to this side. Let's turn that around. And to around here, I'm going to add some fine ruscus. Now this would be ideal for a lovely flow. And I'm going to bring a piece out on this side here, but I'll do it from the back. Those small leaves you could keep if you were going to be doing something, going out with the girls for the night, you wanted something fancy on your wrist or handbag or a wedding, and you would really be fancy. Of course, we've been all held in so much, we're really wanting to do something different. I we take more pride in ourselves. It's quite an experience getting out. So I've used the fine ruscus this side. I'm just going to turn it around and say I'm happy. I'll put a little bit in here. And use the sweep of the ruscus. You obviously would do that. You're all probably very good flower arrangers, or for a long time, and know to do that. I'm just going to bring that round and see am I happy. And I think I am. I don't like to keep you too long. And maybe my friend Beverly will say what she thinks. We not.
Beautiful.
There you are, ladies and gents, or whoever may be watching. And remember, you can repeat with the pins on the leaves, or as we did before with the book. Maybe I should bring the book over beside it, or does Beverly want to zoom in? I'll bring it over. So easy. Now obviously the flowers in the book are silk. I'll put it here to hide all my bits and pieces. So my smocking from the leaves